The story begins in the abyss, a place with no boundaries, where countless monsters and constellations lurk. The main character, Yeonsung, begins to fight the monsters ruling their territories, where they are joined by another terrible creature. But the guy accepts the challenge and begins a battle lasting 300 years, because of which he lost too much time. So he wants to quickly return to Earth, where a long time ago mankind first learned about the abyss and the creatures called constellations, which blessed people, thus expanding the number of their followers, and their number determined the authority of the constellation. For this reason, war broke out between these deities to take away each other's followers. But there were evil constellations in their midst that wanted to take over the Earth, and this man appeared to stop that. Meanwhile, the protagonist cooks bear meat, devouring planets in a pan of adamantium, and this is watched by the ruler of the Goblin Kingdom, who is greatly surprised when he hears that Yeonsung killed a cow-like constellation to take away milk and indulge himself for the first time in 300 years. And for this reason, he is different from the other constellations. It is time to taste the meat from the constellation, from which the goblin gains great power and begins to enjoy himself. At this time, Yeonsung misses the Earth. Many years before that, the teacher informs Yeonsung that he was supposed to have a class at this time while he was training. He was obsessed with strength from an early age to protect himself. Since he was an orphan, he was getting stronger by the day, so he decided to become a hunter, a profession to protect people from monsters and dungeons, where expensive artifacts are found. Meanwhile, his boss advises him to find another way as even stronger hunters suffer losses, and that he'd better find a girlfriend, but Yeonsung says he's broken up because he's in training all the time. Yeonsung decided to become a martial arts master, knowing that his strength is no match for a mage, but he didn't care what anyone thought of him. However, the nature of martial arts suited Yeonsung well, making him a good master, but there are still masters stronger. So he decides to train more, and even in his sleep, suddenly a great glare appears, from which one of the constellations, more specifically the goddess of scales, emerges and offers him a deal. But Yeonsung agrees without even listening, causing the goddess to be confused. She tells him that she has the ability to see the future, and that in a few years the Earth will be attacked in full force by evil constellations, a problem more serious than even the dungeon. And Yeonsung is the only key to prevent this, but the goddess promises to make him stronger through countless trainings. That said, the goddess wasn't entirely sure of him, as this is the first time she's offered such a deal to a hunter. The deal was made. From now on, he would have to live in restrictions, as his soul had become attached to the constellation. The goddess then tells him that he will have to train for several centuries without being able to return. For this reason, the goddess gives him some time to think, but Yeonsung agrees without hesitation, but only if he is allowed to leave the letter. The goddess sighs with worry because she has learned from rumors that people are greedy. And then, happy that her prophecy had finally come true, she began to open a portal, after which the boy was sucked into it. Meanwhile, a farewell letter appeared in his room for all to see, and Yeonsung appeared in a place unknown to him. The place looked like a dungeon, and Yeonsung thinks it's a training place and starts training. And the goddess hopes that everything will go well, since she can only see part of the future. The rest is theory. The other goddesses began to worry because she was acting too confident. At this time, Yeonsung meets his first test, and his body feels as if it is torn apart. But he knew that he could not get stronger without hardship. After that, there was a great storm that destroyed the illusion magic that served as protection. But before Yeonsung could realize it, the storm raged again, something that even the goddess did not foresee. Suddenly she began to worry because she didn't feel the boy enter the citadel, which was 10 meters away. She had prepared the simulators for him in advance for safe training, as well as earthly toys, so that he would not get bored. In the meantime, she receives word that the man has not been found, which means that the storm blew him away. She can't let him wander around the abyss, so she sends someone to look for him. Yeonsung is trapped in an infinite void, a part of the world that has very little constellation study. The boy felt as if he were in a deep ocean, and the flow of mana could have destroyed his body. But through magical art, his body was greatly strengthened. A few weeks passed, and Yeonsung finally landed, thinking that the first training had been a success. He found himself in an undiscovered place. Suddenly a powerful monster gets in his way, and Yeonsung thinks it's another training session from the goddess, so he immediately attacks the monster. But his blow was too weak against him. After that, The moment before the guy wanted to become a hunter was shown. Some guys started discussing the martial arts book and how it's not popular and hard to learn, but Yeonsung disagrees and takes the book for himself in order to increase his Kai level, on which the damage depends. At this time, he begins to use his arsenal of blows, from which the amount of Kai fills up. And if this training continues indefinitely, Yeonsung will become a master of martial arts. Not everyone is able to endure this, but through perseverance, he was able to repeat it for 100 years, thus defeating the monster and becoming a B-rank hunter. But he still remains dissatisfied, because there is a hunter who was able to achieve A rank, who does not want to stop there. After that, Yeonsung takes pity on the dragon, on which he has improved his Kai level and become stronger. And in gratitude, the monster offers him a ride, but they encounter a magical storm that can kill even the strongest monsters. But Yeonsung does not stop. Thanks to the storm, they were able to move through the abyss, and it made his body stronger. But he was lucky that his body survived. The guy hasn't eaten in 100 years, so he's hungry. But the monster offers him a rock torn from his body, as it's actually meat. But the guy refuses. Suddenly he notices that he has acquired a new technique, the stone snake fist. They then headed onward and encountered a large poisonous ocean that drains the hunter's Kai, but his body is used to the poison, and he manages to escape. He then began to think about how he could swim across this ocean, thinking it was another test from his goddess, but to do so, he would need to accumulate enough Kai, which would take a very long time, namely 200 years. Well, thanks for watching to the end. If you want to see the next part, please like and subscribe. See you soon.